It's a big reason why coaching doesn't work, because when you get there, you're not telling the full story. Or if someone begins to tell the story, somebody is looking at them sideways, so they skip over some of the details. Or I can't talk about this because if I do, when he get home, he gonna be real mad. Or I can't talk about this because if I do, when she get home, she gonna act a nut. She gonna cut up in the car. And that is bad because it can't help you. You can't get the help that you need if you're not willing to lay it all on the table. Hello, and welcome to another amazing episode of TMC, where we are here to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving. If this is your first time joining us on TMC, go ahead and subscribe. Click the like button and turn on your notifications so you will be notified each time we upload a video. Today on TMC, we have a very special topic we want to talk about today: why coaching doesn't work. So, babe, you and I were talking, and we were like, why is it that coaching doesn't work? Or counseling doesn't work? And so we started to think about some reasons why it wouldn't work, because we believe in coaching, we believe in counseling, we believe in therapy, we believe in all of that because it helps you.
Oftentimes we get caught up in our lives. We get consumed in our lives, and being consumed in our lives, all we can see is what's going on around us. But I mean, I think it's very necessary and very important to get somebody that a distance to look at the situation, because sometimes when you're in it, you can't always see what's going on.
Absolutely. It's like your house. You're used to the chip and paint. You're used to the mirror being a little bit crooked. So it's been like that all the time. You can't necessarily see anything wrong with it. But when you get that outside perspective, someone will come in and go, oh, that picture is crooked. Oh, it's time to touch up the paint on the outside.
It's real easy, especially based on how the dispute got started. It's so easy for one person to blame the other. But when you're looking at it from the outside, you can really look at the facts and say, bringing somebody in that's not biased, bringing somebody in that doesn't have a favorable point of view, but just a view on the facts. It's always great to have something like that in your life.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's other reasons, but 3 reasons we want to talk about today why coaching doesn't work.
What's number 1?
Number 1 is the couple may think that it's not necessary. Like, I don't need to go to coaching. I don't need anybody to coach me. I'm grown. I know what I'm doing. Or it's not my fault. You the one with the problem. You need to go to coaching. You need to go to counseling. Or no, if we go, nothing is going to change. Everything's going to be the same. Or thinking it's not necessary. It won't help. It won't work. What difference is it going to make? For a lot of times, going to someone, whether it's therapy, a therapist, a coach, a counselor, it has like this stigma. Like some people think that it means something is wrong with you and you can't fix it on your own. You need a doctor or you need a coach or you need somebody to help you. And then other people see it as like it's belittling them. Like, I'm not an adult. I'm not making a decision. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do. So they feel like it's degrading them or bringing them down, or they can't see the benefits of it. So I think that's some of the reasons why people don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, and I also think it's generational effect as well. For example, I remember when I grew up, I mean, my parents taught me what happens in this house stays in this house. So, I've been accustomed and normally just used to, the fact of you don't get outside help. What happens in this house stays in this house. It's a code. It's a secret code. It's like, we don't do that.
And I think every last one of us, have heard that, because I mean, I grew up, I heard the same thing. And I don't think that even though people that said that to us understood what they were doing, they didn't understand that they were creating this stigma that you're not supposed to get help. Even if something is wrong in the house, you're supposed to keep it closed and you're supposed to keep it secret and nobody's supposed to know. And that's what leads to a lot of trauma and other problems that never are discussed, and why we can't be free and we can't be whole and we can't be productive individuals, because we've been taught secrecy. And we've been taught that when there's an issue, you don't reach out for help. And I don't think that's what they meant to teach, but that's, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think they necessarily
They didn't know
understood.
the effect. They didn't know how. They
Exactly.
didn't
They
know
didn't understand how
what it was
far
going
it
to
was going to
happen.
reach.
Right. What's some other things that the reason why someone may say it's not necessary to be coached or be counseled?
I think sometimes people may say that because they're afraid of what may come out if they go to coaching or counseling. If you're a couple, you're dating, one person want to go to premarital counseling, one person wants to go to premarital coaching, one person wants to reach out to their pastor or a therapist or whatever for some help. The person is afraid of what is going to come out, or they're afraid that we're going to go to this session and the person is going to say there's something wrong with me, or the person is going to say I'm the problem or whatever. And, that's not the case, because that's not what they're there to do. They're there to help you, weed it out. And like you said in the beginning, to be unbiased. Right. I think that's one of the things. Sometimes they're afraid of what may come out.
Yeah, they may be struggling with something that they don't want anybody to know about. They may have some challenge that they don't want anybody to know about. And again, when we do that, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because you're allowing yourself to continue in this dysfunction, and you begin to normalize it, and everything around it. Maybe struggling with alcoholism, you may be struggling with drug addiction, you may be struggling with sex addiction, and you may be struggling with these addictions. And these addictions, you're embarrassed about it. You're embarrassed about this addiction, and you don't want nobody to know because you don't want anyone to judge you. But I think the danger in that is, we're looking at the fact like we don't want people to see us a certain type of way. But by us doing that, we're putting ourselves in the judgment seat, because the biggest judges is ourselves. We're judging ourselves.
Yeah. Because I think sometimes that they maybe even not realize that they have an addiction. They just like, I just like sex. I'm not addicted to porn. I just like to watch it. Or I just drink occasionally. Or I just smoke, every now and then. I just, shoot up every now and then. So they not come to the realization or to accept that they have an addiction. But they feel like if we go to coaching or go to counseling, then you go tell this person that I drink every day, or I shoot up 2 or 3 times a week, or I want to have sex 5 times a day, then this person is going to think that I have a problem.
Yeah. And that leads us to number 2. So number 1 is saying it's not necessary. The next thing is, once you get to the coaching session, you're not honest.
Right.
And I think that even go with it too, because now you get into the relationship. For example, you remember Esther?
Like Esther.
Oh yeah, those SIs. Let me get those SIs. I mean, so you get those SIs, you make the first step, but now you don't get the help you need, because both of you all said we want to come in here, but when we come in here, we can't be honest about the situation because we don't want to offend our partner.
Yeah, or like you said, one person, drug the other person. It was like, we're at the end of our rope, or I'm getting sick and tired of this. If we don't go to counseling, I'm leaving. Or if we don't go to coaching, this ain't gonna work, or I'm not marrying you, whatever it is. And sometimes there's an ultimatum, or somebody is drugged there, or they may, like, oh, I'm gonna go because you want to go. And so then that happens, and you get there and you have not, or you do not be fully honest. And we were talking about this, and we were talking about it was like, that's like you going to the doctor and your head is hurting, but you tell the doctor it's your toe, or you tell the doctor it's your foot. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Why would you go to the doctor and you have a pain shooting in the back of your head, and you're going to tell them, oh, it's just a little sore toe, because they cannot treat the right symptom. To me, this is like it's a big reason why coaching doesn't work, because when you get there, you're not telling the full story. Or if someone begins to tell the story, somebody is looking at them sideways. So they skip over some of the details, or I can't talk about this because if I do, when he get home, he gonna be real mad. Or I can't talk about this because if I do, when she get home, she gonna act a nut. She gonna cut up in the car, or she gonna really, whatever it is. And that is bad, because it can't help you. You can't get the help that you need if you're not willing to lay it all on the table. If I'm going to the doctor and I got a pain shooting in my head, I need the doctor to know I got a pain shooting in my head. You need to do an x-ray, you need to do an MRI, whatever it is, to my head to see what the problem is. You looking at my foot is not going to help the situation. And it's the same thing with a relationship. If you are not being honest with your coach, with your therapist, with your counselor, it's not going to work because they are now they're trying to help you navigate through something and they don't have all the details. And it's not like an idea like, oh, they just need to know all your business. No, they need to know the details so that they could help you. If you're saying, you were just talking about addictions. If you're saying that, this person has a drug problem, then what constitute that? Yeah. If you're saying this person has a drinking problem, then let's put some context on that. Yeah. They may be like, you say they have a drinking problem. I don't have a drinking problem. Well, what constitutes a drinking problem? Let's look at the evidence. And if they don't have the evidence, then they can't look at it and they can't give you a proper diagnosis.
Another reason I witnessed this, where you have two couples, they want to get married, right? And they're ready to get married and they feel if something is wrong, he's not going to marry us. So they get up and they go into the session and everybody is like, the relationship is perfect. It's like, everything is perfect. He's the best. He's the best man ever. She's the best woman ever. Mm-hmm.
And that is a recipe for danger.
And you know what? And this is the thing. And this is the truth. And listen to me, TMC. I'm saying this because this really want to, just to bring awareness to this. I've been in several situations like that. This happened. I mean, I've done plenty of marriage coaching, and I've had several individuals come into the session, and it's like everything is perfect. Everything's going right, because they on that honeymoon phase and they want to get married right now. And they just, you're trying to find somebody to say yes. And I mean, the marriage is like real short because you went in and everything's perfect. And it's like, this is one of the reasons why coaching doesn't work. I mean, it's like, be real. Yeah, be real about the situation. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if there's something's going on, you want to talk about that. Exactly. And if that individual, whether it's the pastor or whoever, don't want to marry you because they may say, you're not ready. And this is the thing. I'm thinking about this. Now, this is the thing. I believe if a person go into the session and they're lying, I believe they believe that they're not ready. Mm-hmm. I believe they already know in their mind they're not ready, but they want to do it anyway. It's like, I know I'm not ready for this.
They have some type of reservation or hesitation, but I've already accepted the engagement. I've already told my mama and them. Everybody knows. It's been on social media. You already start buying things. I mean, that is a recipe for, to promote the lie. You already start spending money. You already, the bridesmaids and the maids of honor, they already got their dress. You already been fitted. Everybody's already ready. The wedding, the date is set. I mean, it's really, it's one of those things. I mean, it's really kind of one of those things like, wow. It's almost like you feel like you're at the point of no return. Because it's like, man, I got to get married. I got to get married. I mean, now you get into a form of embarrassment. I mean, this is an embarrassing situation if you get to it and say, oh, the pastor, the preacher, the priest said they're not going to marry me because I'm not ready. I mean, it's like, so we go into the relationship, we go into the counseling session, and we go there ready and preparing to lie. But what I think is even worse, and I would say we, because I'm saying people in general, sometimes you don't think about while you're doing that, and within your heart you have reservations. That there's still some things that are not quite right. When you don't do that, what you're not doing is you're not paying attention to the danger and what is going to leave in the rear view of that. Because if you proceed with a marriage that was never supposed to be, I mean, imagine buying a home together, having kids together. If you make it that far, and now for many people, when you do that, typically the relationship implodes and the world still knows that it wasn't what it was supposed to be or what you pretended it to be. And now you telling everybody, well, it was him and and I knew I should have never married him, or it was her and I never should have. But the thing about it is, if you go to coaching or counseling and you're honest, and the priest, the pastor, whoever says, listen, I cannot perform this ceremony. You two are not ready to get married. Really, to you, what they're saying is that you need to pay attention. That's a red flag. Maybe it's you don't need to get married at this time.
Yeah, the delay is not denied.
Yeah, maybe you need some time to grow. You need some time to mature, or you got some more things to work through to decide. And sometimes it is that point where somebody may decide, we not who we thought we were together. This is not going to work for us. I'm not in line for you and your destiny. You're not in line for me and my destiny. And the best thing for us to do, to me, the greatest, most mature thing you could do is to go to coaching or counseling and realize I'm not the one for you. You're not the one for me. We just need to be friends.
Yeah.
If that is the case, you're making the best decision ever, because now you're not.
It's gonna come back.
Exactly. You're
It's gonna
not
come
now.
back. It's
You're
gonna
not
come
now
back.
bringing kids into the situation,
And
bringing
it
in-laws
just
into the
gets worse. It
situation,
gets worse.
traumatizing other people. Now they have issues because of whatever they experience.
Now, and then when you bring kids into it now, especially if it's a daughter,
Yeah.
you know, now the daughter, 18 years to 20 years later, now the daughter got to make a decision. Do they want their stepdad or their father to walk them down the aisle? And these are things we need to think about. I mean, but we're thinking so much short term. We're thinking about right now. We're thinking about what's going on right now, what's in front of us right now. We're thinking about doing it right now, getting married right now.
And I just want him to say, yeah, he's going to perform this ceremony.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm not going to tell the truth. I'm not going to tell the truth.
That's it.
But that's a recipe for disaster. And it is definitely, to me, the number 2 reason why coaching does not work, because we're not being honest when we go. That's not going to work.
Yeah. So we have number 1 is people say it's not necessary. Number 2 is people not honest. So number 3 is not applying.
Yeah. So you always say this thing. You always say knowledge without application is meaningless.
Absolutely.
I agree wholeheartedly, because if, say, you get past number 1, okay, yeah, we both decided as a couple, or she drugged me here, or he drugged me here. We're going to coaching, we're going to counseling, we're going to therapy, and we get here. And now we're going to be honest. We lay all our mess on the table. We lay all our dirt on the table. And the coach, the counselor, the therapist gives us some things, some tools, or some ideas, or some advice, or whatever it is that they may say to help us. They may give, tell us about some books or whatever it is. And if they give you something and it's designed to help you deal with, whether it's learning your conflict resolution style, learning your love language, they give you these things because it's designed to help you. So if you learn your love language in a coaching session with your significant other, but you never love them out of their love language, then what is the point? You're not applying that. If you learn conflict resolution tools and ideas of how to resolve conflict instead of fussing, cussing, fighting, if you learn these tips and tricks, okay, give yourself a moment, take a time out. You learn all of these things and you never do it, then what is the point? That's why it's not working, because you're not doing it. So if you have the knowledge but don't apply it, it's not going to work. It can't work.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, because let's be honest, we're living in the information is everywhere you look. Everyone are experts. I mean, experts are everywhere. Every last one of us, including us, we all know what it takes to lose weight, right? We know what it takes to lose weight. So we have the information, but what we're oftentimes lacking is the application. We know what it takes to lose weight, but it's not applying what we know. And that's the same thing with coaching. It's the same thing with the business. It's the same thing with getting out of debt. It's the same thing with everything. Absolutely. It's like you have to apply, because again, knowledge without application is absolutely meaningless. It means nothing if you have information but don't do anything with it.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. It's interesting that you bring up that topic, because it is true. We all know. I mean, I've lost weight before multiple times.
We all have
lost weight multiple times, because you know what to do. Drink more water, less soda, get up and walk, move around, cut out the carbs, eat more vegetables, eat health. We know all of that, but we don't do it. I don't. I'll choose to eat a donut. It's just the truth. So it's the same thing with everything else. If we know the information, but we don't use it, then we're not going to get the results. Because if I'm eating donuts and not walking the track, I can't say that, well, I'm not losing no weight. You know why? Because we're not doing what it takes to lose it. That's just the truth. So if that's the truth, then it's the same thing in your relationship. To me, if you took out the time and you got past number 1 and 2, you decided, okay, it is necessary for us to go to coaching. It is necessary for us to do premarital counseling. Yes, it is necessary for us to do premarital coaching. It's necessary for us to go to therapy because of our past, because of our history, because of our upbringing, because of old relationships, trauma, drama, and all of that. We need to do this for us as individuals as well as a couple. So when you've made it past number 1 and decide it's necessary, and then you're bold enough to do number 2 and go in there and be full-hearted honest, like, I'm gonna lay out my mess on the table. I'm not coming in here lying. This bothers me, that bothers me. I do this, I do that. I do have an anger problem. I do have a problem with porn. Whatever it is, you decided that you made it past 1 and 2 and you're coming to therapy, coming to coaching, coming to counseling, and you're telling the truth and being honest and laying it all on the line, then why would you not apply what you learned? Why?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so here's the thing. In our lives, we have to make a decision and decide, do we want to be different or do we want to be another statistic? You know, breaking those generational cycles. Say, you know what? My family, my household, we're going to do something different. We're going to be happy for real. We're going to love each other for real. We're not going to be social media lovers, my Valentine lovers. We're going talking that real love, that surpassed so Valentine's Day, right? It's to take our relationships from surviving to thriving. So we have to make a decision. I want you to make a decision today. Whatever information you find, whatever books you read, whatever podcasts, whatever seminars you go to, whatever conferences you go to, make a decision and say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a decision and I'm going to do something different. I'm going to learn and I'm going to apply, and make this a habit in your life to learn and apply. Don't just learn it, apply it. Learn it, apply it. Learn it, apply it. What one change I can make today to be 1% better tomorrow? And if I'm 1% better tomorrow, that means the next day after that, I'm 2% better. Then I'm 3% better. And by the end of the year, you're 360% better than you were right now. All right.
I encourage people to get coaching, get counseling, get outside. Whether you want to call it a mediator, a cheerleader, whatever, you need all of that.
Yeah, don't get caught up in the title.
Yeah, don't get caught up in the title. Whatever it takes to help you go from surviving to thriving. Because we always say this: surviving means you're barely hanging on. Surviving means you put tooting, you holding on. Your relationship may be still there, you may be still there, but you're not fully invested. It's not flourishing, it's not growing, it's not maturing the way you want it to. So thriving is when it every year you feel like it's getting better. Every month you feel like it's getting better. And I know you're not 100, but you're better than you were last month. And that's thriving, getting better and better and better.
Let's do this, because here it is, because we're talking about coaching, but I want to talk to that individual that they may be in the relationship right now. They're in the relationship and they want to get coaching, or they want to get counseling, but the other person don't want to get it.
I would say get it anyway. Go by yourself. Go by yourself, because all the change that you want to see in your life, all the change you want to experience starts with you. And I'm going to be honest about that. Whether it means you exiting that relationship or it just makes you show up better, so the relationship automatically becomes better. Because a lot of times that's what happens. People will notice once they start getting coaching or counseling, you see that this person may legitimately be doing something, but sometimes it's your response, or sometimes it's something you're doing. Sometimes it's something you're doing, and sometimes they're doing things to get a rise at you. My aunt always say they get a rise at you. So sometimes there may be something going on in that nature. And if whatever it is, if you become better, I believe when you become better, your surroundings become better. And that is whether you stay in the relationship or you exit the relationship, is going to be better. Because I feel like when I think about the two of us, one thing I tell people all the time, and I'm not ashamed to say it, when I saw you started reading more, you started listening to podcasts, you started going to conferences, you started all these things, like always growing. And I saw it at work in your life. I saw you like flourishing at work, church, home. I mean, even when I was going loopy, you was still like, okay, you different. When I saw you showing up different, then it's like, oh, wait a minute, this stuff that he's doing is working. These books that he's reading really changing him. Crucial Conversation has him speaking to me differently. It has him asking different questions. When I saw the evidence, the fruit of what you were doing in your life as a wife, it made me do the same thing. So we started. Now I'm like, hey, what book you reading? What book you reading? What I'm listening to the podcast you're listening to, because I just feel like, if you're in a relationship, you care about the person, but you have some issues. When you see them attempting to be better, you're going to try to be better. So if they don't want to go, you start by yourself. And you become a better version of yourself, because it's going to change your life no matter what.
Yeah. And this is the thing. Majority of the time, when you start bearing that fruit become contagious. When you start, it's like that person, it's like I want to be better too. I want to be better too. I want to upgrade myself. You upgrade, I want to upgrade. I want to be better. I don't want to get left behind. I want us to stay side by side. I mean, it don't happen all the time, but there's a high percentage that your partner will step up once you start working on yourself. Because oftentimes when we begin to work on ourselves, because here's the thing, you always share the story about me when I started getting better, it made you want to get better. But when I started growing, I realized how hurt I was. I realized how broken I was. Anger management and things like that. I mean, those things I began to go through that healing process, and that made me a better husband because I needed help. I needed help. And I didn't even realize it. But when I started developing, it made me better. It made me a better husband. It made me a better friend. It made me a better father. It made me a better co-worker at work. I mean, it changed my whole life. And I began to be, the marriage began to be more blessed. The kids are blessed, and family blessed, finance blessed, promotions, and all these different things. And people begin to see you different because the way you show up. So I tell you, get counseling, get coaching, be better. Whether you're in that relationship with that individual or you're going to be upgraded to get in the upgraded relationship. All right. So just remember that and keep that in mind. At the end of the day, if they don't want it, you get it for yourself.
So we want to thank you for joining us today on TMC. And if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, go ahead and subscribe. Click the like button and turn on your notifications so you'll be notified each time we upload a video. And if you're listening on iTunes, go ahead and rate the podcast and leave a review. That helps us get the word out. And we want to invite you to come on over to our leadership podcast, Lead to Greatness, where my husband is interviewing entrepreneurs and great leaders from all around the world every week. And you don't want to miss it.
And we want to thank you for joining us today on TMC. Looking forward to hanging out with you again on next week as we continue to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving. Bye. See you next week.